we got some activities. I picked out 4 good ones, I hope. Quick ones, easy ones, everybody can do them ones. And if not, we'll be able to do them by the end of this. I want to say hour, but maybe we'll finish up a little bit early. At the end, I'd like to do a little collaboration board and have everybody post maybe some ideas that they use that are different from mine. I would like to learn as well from this podcast and webinar. And as we are going through the different activities that I have, if you would jot down on a sheet of paper something for the end, when we collaborate at the very end, put together some ideas and Post-its so that we can all share what we do with these same topics. So let's go ahead and get started and take a look at not just a roll call, but a scarcity roll call by going to the first form of interactivity, a collaboration board. Looks like a chalkboard. And if you would, post where you're from, say hello, post where you're from, and say something or post something that you found to be scarce lately. And I know toilet paper would be on the list, but more recently, now that everybody's got a 4-year supply of toilet paper, more recently, what have you found that has been hard to come by? So to do this, we're at Nearpod. I think 6 of us are at Nearpod. If you go over to Nearpod and enter, you'll be able to add to the collaboration board. Got a bunch of people, Lexi's from Somerville, and I like that. Patience is scarce. I'm going to give Lexi a like. I'm going to click on her heart, and everybody can do the same and give her a little bit of feedback. Vicky is from Myrtle Beach, and time is scarce. Vicky, time is one of the resources that we're going to talk about tonight, scarce resources. And I want to say that I put in 80 hours last week, getting up from 5 and getting off the computer at 5, and then about a night or two, 2 or 3 hours for some, an hour for others. So time is definitely scarce. Tasha has scarce empathy. Yeah, I've been told that grace is once again the word of the semester, word of the quarter, and grace and empathy, and I'm running out as well. Nikki is from Pelia, Horry County, and rubbing alcohol and peroxide. I did not know that. Give that a click, give that a like. That is something that I haven't heard of. Now, alcohol, not so much, but rubbing alcohol, interesting. Time again, Ryan's from Lawrence. Welcome. I saw a bike flash up, and I know where you're coming from, Amanda, because now that we have all this time, or March, April, May, June, July, and August, 2 issues. We have scarcity of bicycles because everybody wants one. So we're talking about the demand has increased at the same time as the supply of bicycles, most of which come from China. China had a period where there was nobody working, nobody leaving their houses and not making any bikes. So an increase in demand, definitely increased demand. And then a ridiculous decrease in supply. So I think for my daughter's birthday, they wanted a bike. We as in my wife paid almost $200 for a stinking bike. Clean air in Oregon. Oh, Michael, are you from Oregon? All the way from Oregon? No, but you're right. Clean air, definitely in short supply. Gonna like the bike, like the clean air. Alfalfa hay. Not something I would have thought of. Horse feed and alfalfa hay. So tonight we're going to be looking at natural resources, and there are 2 good examples of scarce natural resources. I wonder what the reason is. Why is alfalfa hay? The fires burning them, or the flood? Good question. So Tamika battle, gloves. The demand for gloves has skyrocketed, and I don't know what's happened to the supply, but evidently I haven't really looked for gloves. I did look for a softball glove, and they're in the hundreds of dollars as well. So I'm with you, Chelsea. Chelsea from Easily Sleep seemed to be automatically getting up at 5 o'clock. So sleep and bikes and imported products from Asia. Excellent, excellent. They're not coming in because of the pandemic, but we need them even more because of the pandemic. Box fans, interesting. So Kevin from Fort Mill says the box fans. I did not. I have some box fans here, and I didn't go shopping for new ones. Everybody's making their home filtration systems for, I guess, Oregon, Northern California, Washington. And what is this? Puzzles. All right. Well, with the pandemic and all the free time, we seem to have an increased demand for puzzles as well. So we actually have been trading puzzles with other families that had puzzles, and they got bored putting theirs together, and a lot of downtime. So that was wonderful. Thank you all, and all of those scarce products, and we're going to take a look at whether those would qualify as being resources or not in our lesson on scarcity and resources, and putting them all together in a production possibility model or frontier model. So a little bit of background, a little bit of content to make sure that everybody's on an even keel. We're all coming from different classes and different courses that we teach. In economics, we look at behavior of people. We look at how they behave, but in a particular situation. In economics, we look at how people behave when it comes to how they deal with scarcity, dealing with limited or scarce resources. So economics is all about scarcity and scarce resources. In U.S. history, you talk about how people behave, in the past with the United States, or if we're talking about world history, how they behave in the past across the world. Psychology, just why and how they behave the way they do. But in economics specifically, it's how they behave when they have to make choices, when they can't have everything that they want. Now, since it's all about choices, I try to give my students a visual of why this happens. So they'll pop out their hands and say, well, what is this scarcity, and why does it have to happen? Well, that happens for two reasons. Reason number one, I guess we'll start with the easier of the two. We are human beings, and we have unlimited wants. We have no limit to what we continuously want. Madison Avenue makes sure of that. But as human beings on the planet, we have a limited production capacity. There's a limit to what we can produce or make. And today, or tonight's lesson is all about why that is. Tonight's lesson is to take a look at why that limit is for what we can produce. We have limited resources. We have limited land, limited labor, limited capital, limited entrepreneurship, and as many textbooks put in with resources, limited technology. So our resources that we use to make our products is limited, but our wants are limited. Our wants are unlimited. So we always have scarcity. I teach 12th grade, and at 12th grade, we have to make it a little bit different than land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. We have to make it politically correct. Land is now natural resources. I was sending students home talking about how water was land and fish are land, and it was they start to wonder and question you. So we talk about natural resources instead of land, human resources instead of labor. We still talk about capital. They don't have any feelings that can be hurt. So we talk about capital resources and entrepreneurial resources, but it's a little more of a modern description of what these factors of production are. You have to have all of them. You have to have land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship to run a business or to make a product. And we in the United States have tremendous amount of land. We have the third largest country with all the resources. We have the third largest population with all the human resources and workers who have the skills and abilities. We have at least $180,000 of capital per person. We have a high capital to worker ratio. And that makes us very productive because we're using those resources to make our products. And then we have more entrepreneurs than any country in the world. Entrepreneurs are the people who take the land, the labor, the capital, and they put it together to make a product. They come up with the ideas, and they take the risk. And that's the big thing. You know, I can run a business. I can figure out a product to make, but I don't want to take the risk. I don't like an iffy income. I like a sure thing. So I always give my students pictures of everything so that they are bombarded with something visual all the time. I'm a visual learner. So I come up with examples, natural resources, including the sun and the wind and the trees and the crops, and including the things underground. Those are all natural resources. Human resources, we've got manual workers, blue collar, white collar workers, all human beings. And then capital. And I tried to find some interesting examples of some capital that maybe they'd never seen before, like this beast of a dump truck, unlike anything I've ever seen. But I like to focus on the entrepreneurs because I want my students to see that anybody can do it. Anybody can be filthy stinking rich, like this guy. Does anybody know who this guy on the left is? Anybody want to unmute and name that smile?
Jeff Bezos.
The richest man in the world, and thanks to Jeff Bezos, he made a woman in one single day, the richest woman in the world, his wife, or I should say his ex-wife. What about the guy on the right? Everybody knows who he is, don't we?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mr. Zuckerberg, everybody's favorite Facebook friend. Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook and Jeff Bezos with Amazon. How about these guys? The guy on the left. Familiar face?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs was an interesting character. And he put together, in the United States at least, the most valuable company, Apple. Apple is back and forth valued at, capitalized at $2 trillion. And what a lot of people don't know is that there was a partnership to start Apple. It was Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and one other guy. And that other guy was a partner with Apple, an entrepreneur to start Apple, an $8,000 venture. And his name is, Amanda, do we have any prizes to send people who can name this third partner, this guy on the right?
Sure, we have.
Oh, and they have unlimited postage. They can send it to you.
Yes, I will wrap you up and send you to the winner.
Oh, not human prizes. Anyway, has anybody ever seen this guy before?
Bill Skiller.
No, his name is Ron Wayne, and Ron Wayne was the third partner to start Apple. Steve Jobs wanted to be the creative, money-making part of the business, and Steve Wozniak, he was the scientist, he was the inventor, and he wanted to give it all away. And Ron Wayne was brought in to break the tie all the time. And Ron Wayne chickened out. I can't remember how many days it was, 8 days, 10 days. He took his 10% of the business, which at the time was $800, and he was fine with that. He said, I'll take the $800, and missed out on, let me do some quick math. What is 10% of 2 trillion? What is that, 200 billion? So he could have had $200 billion, but presently he is living in a trailer in Pahrump, Nevada. Living off Social Security. So he is an example that I use in teaching about entrepreneurs, because it's not just the know-how, it's not just the skill, it's not just the ability, of putting land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship together. It is the risk, and Ron chickened out and missed out on the big money. So I want to move into some of those activities. I think that's why we're all here, to take a look at the way to teach this and some activities that you can use not only in economics but in a lot of the different courses that we teach, social studies courses and finance courses. And I want to start with a cute little Kahoot-like, Gimkit-like, Quizlet Live-like activity that is exclusive to Nearpod, and I love it. The kids love it. It's easy to make and self-explanatory. It is coming up. It's called Time to Climb, and you have different versions. One is climbing the Himalayan. We're going to do Himalayan. We're going to climb a mountain, but you can also do space and underwater. My kids love climbing to the top to capture the flag. And what I put together is a simple set of, I can't remember, 4 or 5 questions to reinforce the little bit of content that we have on scarcity, resources, the concept of choices that we have to make, and it's a lot of fun. So learn by doing. Let's see if everybody will jump in. We have 16 people in Nearpod, and I'm hoping that we'll have 16 giraffes or aliens or penguins. Ooh, Nikki, what are you? Are you a blue falcon, blue? I'm not quite sure. Got some strange creatures. I think there is even a koala in there somewhere. There's a panda. So we got 8. Got about half of the people. Oh, there's my koala, my daughter's favorite. So these are pretty easy questions, and when I make my questions, I just type them in. You can copy and paste them in, and if you already use Kahoot, my students like Kahoot, but they get a little tired of it. I asked my niece what kind of things that their teachers do to make learning engaging, and they say Kahoot, but Kahoot's kind of old. I love Gimkit, Gimkit. Hey, Sherry. I love Gimkit, but Gimkit is now expensive. You got to pay for it now. That pandemic deal is over. And unless you have an IT specialist who loves you and gives you all the stuff you need, it's a little pricey. So we got 15 in. Should we wait for one more? That one more is probably Amanda. And she's a giraffe. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start. I'm going to press the magic button. And it's just a few questions. So you got to be quick, and you got to be correct, and make it to the top before anybody else. Fabulous prizes. An example of an entrepreneur. Oh, Nikki took the lead. There's a clump at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About half of us are all clumped at the top. So there are a few things that you can do with this. I just wanted to use this to show as an example. Just made it a 15-second thing. I just made it, I believe, maybe 5 questions just to illustrate how it's used, how much fun it can be. Nikki's on fire. 3 out of 3. What would be capital? I don't think anybody moved changed places. Everybody got it about at the same time. So last question. Mr. Dorian at the last minute wins by less than 40 points. Right. Out of nowhere. Nikki, you were on fire. You were up at the top. I think Ryan was just a little tiny quicker. I'm just going to take a second and see where Amanda is in this. All the way down. Oh, Amanda. Goodness gracious. Anyway, congratulations to Ryan, Nikki, and Vicky. All right there, nice and tight up at the top. Okay, so it's fun, and the kids love it. They ask for it every single week, and I try to squeeze it in. It just takes about 5 minutes, and there's always like 5 minutes to make the kids happy. Another activity that I use in teaching about scarcity and teaching economics, actually, to be honest, I use this every single day. When I was in the classroom, the kids would walk into the room. We have about 5 minutes of changeover time. And I always have a cartoon, interesting cartoon to make people chuckle and to also teach them how to extract meaning. And I go through the process, the painstaking process at the beginning of the year to teach them to look at it at different levels, to look at all of our text at different levels. And to start by asking the kids, what jumps out at you? What would a freshman, if they were to walk into the room, because I have all seniors, what would they look at that and see? And occasionally I'll ask the kids to walk in off the hall and pick a freshman, and they say, yeah, I see a bird, and he's flying, and he's got a bunch of packages, and it looks like a stork. All right, well, thanks very much. And then I get the onion peeled back a little bit, and I ask for any kind of symbols to dig a little bit deeper and not just look at the obvious meaning, but some deep symbolism that's found in these cartoons. What a stork might represent, what the little tiny wings might represent, and the look on the faces. Not a whole lot to this thing, so I do nice and simple stuff. But after that, I always ask them, so what has this got to do with what we've been talking about? And every cartoon that I use each and every day has all kinds of links or meaning to what we did the day before or what we're doing that day. I brought that political cartoon analysis into virtual teaching, and that's what I have on my, I don't know what you call it, the little boards that are up when you're playing music and people are joining in the supposed to be joining in the first 5 minutes before class, and it gives them something to look at, and it gives them a step-by-step process of learning how to think on their own. So you can use this with scarcity, as I do. You can use it with just about anything, any unit in economics, and any course really, to teach the thought process. And so I pulled a couple, since we're doing resources and scarcity, I pulled a couple together, and my 8-year-old daughter, I don't know if you saw her poking her head in before this started, but she was looking at this and she said, oh, this is funny. And she was giving me the symbolism, and she was analyzing this as well. So anybody can do it, and anybody can learn, not just to take the literal meaning, but to dig a little bit deeper and read between the lines and peel back the onion for some depth. And I don't know, maybe go real deep, like with this one. One of my daughters looked at this and said, oh, that's funny. And that's me. This is the perfect one for me. I have been a little stressed lately. As the water droplet in the back named Amanda can attest. So activity number 2, a way to teach scarcity, a way to teach about resources, natural resources, human resources, and learn how to think at the same time. So the third activity that I have is one that's a little more complicated than all the others. It involves breakout rooms. It involves going cross-curricular. And I asked my students to do jumping jacks and push-ups to illustrate scarcity, to illustrate trade-offs, choices, opportunity cost, economic concepts like growth, underemployment, unemployed resources, and what else? Choices, necessity of choice. It's a lot of stuff in this little tiny model, and it's fun to do. So to do this, essentially what we're going to do is get small groups of maybe four volunteers, and take a look at limited resources of time and bodies. We're just going to have one person, one body, and we're just going to have 30 seconds. And what I want to do is create a model and ask my students to create the data to make a model that illustrates what is possible given just two products, just the production of two things, jumping jacks or push-ups. And so I asked them to go to breakout rooms, as I will ask you. And I asked them to take jobs or roles on. One will be the jumping jacker, the pusher upper. And one person would be a timer, and one person is the recorder. So somebody in the group would need a cell phone, somebody would need a pencil and paper, somebody would need to count out loud, and somebody would need to do all the sweating. But what we do is we create data by asking somebody in 30 seconds to do as many jumping jacks as they can. As many jumping jacks as they can, and record how many they're doing. And then in 20 seconds, how many jumping jacks can you do? And then in 10 seconds, how many jumping jacks you could do. It's not necessary to do the 0 seconds because the answer is 0. But then we ask, well, what about push-ups? How many can you do in 30 seconds? How many can you do in 20 seconds? And how many can you do in 10 seconds? You could, if you don't want to do a lot, you could just do 30 seconds, and at each 10-second interval, say how many, record how many that they've done. And so it's a lot of fun, and it can be used to illustrate, as we'll see, a production possibilities frontier of what is possible with limited or scarce resources, making two different products, making any two different kinds of products. So let's do that. Let's get somehow get SC Economics to put us in breakout rooms, and basically count how many we can do of jumping jacks in 30 seconds, and 20 seconds, and 10 seconds, and then do the same thing with push-ups.
So I've opened the breakout rooms. You guys can go ahead and go in. Kurt, what time do you want them back?
It only takes about 5 minutes. So let's take 5 minutes and be back at which clock do I want to use? 7:41. Does that sound all right? Let's go 7:42. 7:42. I'll write it down. Well, hey there. Hey there, old friend. How are the department leader meetings without me? Fortune. All right, Ryan's back. Are we all back? We got a few back. Still waiting on the rest. You guys did an excellent job. Fortune, did y'all do a breakout room? Ryan, can you hear me? Am I coming through? Okay. Amanda, did you do any push-ups or
Yeah, I just forget to unmute all the time when I start talking.
My students were asking me questions the other day. They said, Mr. Stig, they were asking me questions and I couldn't hear what they were saying. For some reason, there's a problem with my computer. And then Marshall, and then I couldn't, kids were telling me in the chat room that they couldn't hear me. So I went to see what the problem is. I just got out, went back into the meet, and they said, man, for the longest time, you couldn't hear a word that we were saying. I thought it was just a typical day. But I said, did y'all say anything bad while I was away when I couldn't hear you? And I watched the video when they thought that I couldn't hear what they were saying. I went back and watched the recording, and they were naughty. They were naughty. All right. Well, do we have everybody back? We got 32 back. How did it go? Anybody want to shout out success or failure? Windedness? Anybody? All right. What?
Totally out of breath, okay?
Totally out of breath. Did you do both, the jumping jacks and the push-ups?
Couldn't do both.
We had, in the group I went into, we had Cyprian volunteer to do both, and
Wow.
he did the push-ups and he did the jumping jacks, and he was on fire. He was amazing. We got some good data in that group, and what I'd like to do is come back now that we're all back, and show you what that looks like. What we found is that when we took 30 seconds and allowed Cyprian to do all 30 seconds in just jumping jacks, he was able to do 30. And because all of the resources, all of the time was used for just jumping jacks, the number of push-ups that he was able to do was zero, not a nothing. And when we counted how many jumping jacks he did in 20 seconds, it was 20. He was a machine. He was steady. He was 1 per second. Unfortunately, he was not as good with his push-ups, and the push-ups that we saw, he had in 10 seconds of push-ups, he was able to do 5. So, oops, I'm not sharing my screen. I was told. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Sorry, people. Sorry about that. I went crazy in a breakout room and forgot to share. All righty. Well, to recap, what we saw is that if we took all of our resources, all of our seconds, 30 seconds, and put it into just jumping jacks, we got 30 jumping jacks and 0 push-ups. If we took 20 of those seconds and put them into jumping jacks and 10 of those seconds and put them into push-ups, we were able to do, I say we, Cyprian did all the work. He was able to do 20 jumping jacks, but only 5 push-ups. Okay, to be honest with you, that was me. I did this activity to get some data, and I could only do 5. Cyprian did a whole lot more. In the third example, we compare, if we take 30 seconds, the same 30 seconds, and we take only 10 of those seconds and do jumping jacks, we're able to do 10. But with the 20 seconds of resources of time we put into push-ups, we were able to do 10 push-ups in 20 seconds. So at the 20-second mark, we had I had 10 push-ups. I'm not very good at push-ups. And then with a fourth combination of push-ups and jumping jacks that we could put together, if we took all 30 seconds and did just push-ups, we got 15 push-ups in 30 seconds. And then, of course, there were no seconds put into jumping jacks, and you don't get any jumping jacks when you don't have any time to do that. And so each of these is a combination of taking all of our 30 seconds. The breakdown is 30 and 0, 20 and 10, 10 and 20, and 0 and 30. And we get these different combinations. What I like to do is graph these dots, plot these points, and put jumping jacks on the vertical axis and push-ups on the horizontal axis, and then just plot points. Up 30 jumping jacks and over 0 push-ups, put that guy there. Up 20 jumping jacks in the second case, and over 5 push-ups, and put that guy there. In the third combination, we were able to do 10 jumping jacks, but 20 push-ups, 10 push-ups, 10 and 10. And then in the last 30-second round, we put everything into push-ups, and we didn't get any jumping jacks, so we don't go up any, and we go over 15. And when you connect the dots, or when you connect the points, you get something that looks like this: a downward sloping, a limit, a frontier, a maximum amount of, we'll say, product or products that can be produced. And so what the kids created was the data to show that given limited amount of time, 30 seconds, and one person, one person at a time doing the exercising, we could take the 30 seconds and do either this or that. So there's your scarcity. You've got limited resources. You've got choices that you have to make. We can do push-ups or jumping jacks. And there are trade-offs. If we put all of our resources into making push-ups, we get 15, but we don't get any jumping jacks. If we want jumping jacks, we'll have to give up some push-ups to get some jumping jacks. Now this all, this illustrates the concept of trade-offs and the cost of a trade-off, and the fact that you have to give up, it looks like, 5 push-ups to get 10 jumping jacks, and another 5 push-ups to get another 10 jumping jacks, and then another 5 push-ups to get another 10 jumping jacks. But it goes the other way too. If you want more push-ups, you got to give up some jumping jacks, and if you want more jumping jacks, you got to give up some push-ups. What it also illustrates, what we can use this to illustrate, is that this guy out here represents what's not possible. You can't do in 30 seconds 15 push-ups and it looks like about 27 jumping jacks. It's not possible. We don't have the resources to do that. We also see a coordinate or a combination of, looks like 5 push-ups and about 5 jumping jacks. And if we were to take 30 seconds and do 5 and 5, we might ask what the heck was going on with the resources in the breakout room, because you could have done so much more. These are underemployed resources or unemployed resources. They're just either not doing it or doing it very slowly and inefficiently. So what has this got to do with economics? This could represent a country. It could represent a group of people. It could represent any economy given limited resources. And so when you look at this model of limited resources, you see scarcity, you see trade-offs, you see opportunity cost. And if you want to get to this guy out here, you're going to have to get more resources, either more time or more people doing jumping jacks and push-ups, and then it might be possible. The definition of that would be growth, which is getting more resources and more technology. So it's a cute little model that I use to teach all those concepts and relate it to our economy, the United States economy, as a people, and look at different economies, and to show where we are as a people on that production possibilities graph. Sort of running out of time, so I want to take you to a couple video clips. It's another activity, I guess. Would you like the video to be played on Sure. Let's go all in. YouTube is not connecting. Well, let's take a look at the picture. My YouTube is not connecting, so let's just take a look at the slides or the videos. This is about a 30-second video clip, and I don't know if we'll get it to work, if YouTube will decide to work. But this is a video clip of people in a very poor nation using the resources that they have of labor, lots of humans down at the bottom, capital, a couple shovels, and they're building a building with very little capital, but a lot of human resources. Try that one more time. It's just a 30-second. Maybe not. This is a picture that I love. It's another 30-second video, and it is, see if it'll work. Oh, YouTube works on this one. Again, not a whole lot of capital, and apparently the labor is sacrificable. Oh. So if you look at this guy's head, the top of his head, you can see that he has a little bean bag and a little piece of wood, and that's about all the capital that he has to work with to produce his product. They're building a building as well. They're taking bricks and they're constructing it, but very labor intensive and not much capital. Oops, not much capital at all. So interesting. There's another 30-second clip, I guess. We'll stop it after 30 seconds, of another type of economy dealing with scarcity, and they have a lot of capital. I think you can see the point that in a society or a culture or an economy that has a lot of capital, they can build a lot of buildings. They can be very productive. Whereas with scarce capital but not so scarce human resources, very slow production, very limited output, and they need more capital to accompany and to be used by the human resources. So I'm noticing that we're running scarce of time, and so I'd like to bring it to a close by saying that there are a lot of different ways that we can use time to climb, political cartoons, kinesthetic learning activities, and even 30-second video clips to teach economic concepts. And you infuse as many as you can and keep the kids' attention, dance a little bit, sing a little bit, do whatever it takes to teach the concepts of economics, because senior year in high school, it's about the only time they're going to get it before they go out into the real world and have to interpret what is going on with politicians and the economy and the decisions that are made basically for them. So in the few seconds that we have left, I want to ask, do you have any activities or any other ideas that you guys use to teach about scarcity, to teach the production possibilities, frontier graph, entrepreneurs, any other quick descriptions of how you make it fun or how you make it engaging and how you make it interesting? Yeah, Ryan, I'm going to go ahead and give that a like. My wife uses texting. She lets the kids get their cell phones out and they do some kind of thing plus texting, and they're like really productive at that. There's always a possibility that you could give them Twinkies and graham crackers and give them different kinds of candy and have them produce, see how productive they can be with the limited resources, produce candy cars or graham cracker cars or just whatever you have in your pantry that you can't get rid of. I like this. I've seen this, Vicki, I've seen this island simulation and I wanted to use it. It just, to me, it looks hard to do virtually. And I wish there was a way to do that. I opted instead, Vicki, with the dialysis machine. I started to say not the dialysis machine, but tweak it and make it a new one with the ventilators. But then I thought it would get perhaps too real. So I like all of these. Around Halloween one year, we had kids color pumpkins and bats to create. Oh, that would be awesome. Get a deal. I don't know. They'd be really cheap right after Halloween. I don't know if that would be as fun. Tasha, I like that. I like that idea. Classroom currency for hard work, and they could spend their money in the classroom store to teach scarcity and always make those back row desks or the back row chairs. Amanda uses Stigglebucks in her classroom, and you can buy pencils and erasers and real estate. If you want a back row seat, you can pay dearly for it. Lots of econ movies, Monsters Inc. That's great. That's just about every basic economic concept. Mr. Clifford has an awesome video, and they're not very long. There's like Monsters Inc., Indiana Jones. There's even a Star Wars one, I think, that coming out. Those are awesome. And now with the virtual teaching, you can just put them online and tell the kids to watch them. And they'll watch them. So Chelsea says, when I get close to the American Revolution, they pretend that they're using up all their resources, raising taxes, classroom money. Chelsea, I wonder what you call your classroom money and if there's a counterfeit problem. It gets so complicated, and if you get the prizes good enough, they'll start cheating and counterfeiting. And it does. It's not a production possibility model, but it is dealing with scarcity and history as well. So these are all excellent. I like chocolate too. There's a shortage of chocolate. There's an article that I assign about a shortage of chocolate for lots of different, maybe global warming, maybe the increased demand and a decreased supply, the disease, the fungus, and all that. All of these are excellent, excellent, excellent. So in the last minute, I enjoyed my time, but I didn't give enough to Amanda. She has a commercial, and we're going to let her talk about this master teacher program that is amazing. Amanda, are you there?
I'm here. I was just waiting on your wonderful presentation. So guys, before I give like a little commercial on the South Carolina Financial Literacy Master Teacher Program, got a little bit too fast there. I have dropped in the chat box the evaluation for tonight. Please make sure you complete that. That gives us some important feedback about the things that we do well and the things that we can continue to work on for you guys in the future. But maybe even more importantly for you guys, it is the tool that helps us track if you have attended the 5 webinars this series during the fall, so we can send you that $100 check, which is a really powerful incentive, I believe. So it is there in the chat box. Please let me know if there are any issues with it. Thank you for your time on that. And then I just want to take a few seconds to highlight Kurt and a lot of the teachers who will be presenting in the fall series. They are part of our South Carolina Financial Literacy Master Teacher Program, which is hosted by the State Treasurer's Office in the Future Scholar 529 program. And so what it does is it identifies wonderful teachers like Kurt, and we have several on here tonight, some that you will hear from throughout the course of the fall, and they take the initiative to share professional development with other teachers like you. Sometimes that is in a virtual platform that is statewide, like this one, and sometimes it's just with their peers at their school. But we understand the power of incentives, and so we incentivize them in partnership with the Treasurer's Office and the 529 plan to share financial literacy and economics best practices. So we have 3 cohorts. Our first 2 cohorts have already been accepted. The new cohort we will be accepting for cohort 3 in January, applications for. But teachers have the opportunity to earn between $500 extra and $1,500 extra. And with each progressive year, there's an opportunity to earn more money. And so if you are interested in that opportunity, please reach out to either me or Chandler. We'd be happy to share some of that information with you. And Kurt, will you go to the next one? And the next one.
That's it.
If you guys have any questions, we're happy to stay on for just a few minutes and answer those. I will also post the evaluation link in the chat box one more time. And we have really enjoyed our time with you guys. Y'all were a very lively group.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye bye.